Hey guys, and welcome back to the Green Witch Homestead. I'm Kimberly. So today I am going to show you what the power of pigs can do for your farm, at least what we choose to do with our Mangalitas that we're raising. I'll also show you some of the things that I've added to the garden in the last couple days and how everything's growing. We got 3 Mangalita pigs from Jess and Maya, and we had them here behind me on this little spot that was pretty much weeds and clay. We had them for about 2 months on that spot, and then we moved them and laid down manure and hay and then put them back for about 2 weeks. And then we've let it sit for about another month or so, and we just turned everything in. So we do have larger tillers, but I got myself this little electric tiller because it's hard for me to handle the big machinery. This thing is a little beast. It's not me on it right now because I'm the one that records videos, but it's amazing how powerful this little thing was. This is the new garden spot.
This is what it looked like before we had the pigs on it.
It is about 10 feet wide by about 30 feet long. It does have an old concrete sidewalk running right here, and then of course there's the brick wall for the basement. So it's completely contained, and now it's completely weed free. So one of the other things that we have an issue with here on our farm is the jungle. So we had also moved the pigs. They were over there, and we moved them to this space here just to clear the underbrush, and as you can see, they've done a pretty good job of it. So this is where the pigs were for about 3 weeks, and this was just mainly to get the underbrush out and the weeds out so we can get in and get all these big trees out. This is, like I said, just a couple weeks. There's a lot of old lumber that was in here that has been exposed, lots of junk now that we can pull out a whole lot easier because of them. From those 2 spots, we started moving them out into the field. Now we have a lot of open space here that's weedy grass. Not much good for grazing. There's a little bit of clover in there, but mostly it's just weeds. So we started moving them. We did them on a test square right behind me here. That was 2 weeks. They were on that space for only 2 weeks. So with spaces like this, we can now come back through and fertilize and seed this with pasture grade that we want to put on. So like I said, this was just a test square, and you can see the difference of what it would look like without the pigs, with the pigs for 2 weeks. Our goal with this large open space of property is to make a lot of market garden space. So as of right now, we have one market garden that is 100 feet long by 20 feet wide. With that mindset of wanting more garden space, we know that we have to do a lot of amending to this soil. So one of the things that we did a couple years ago when the city was coming through our town and trimming all the trees away from the power lines, we asked them to dump all the wood chips on our property. So behind me here, one pile, but it's basically wood chips and brush that's been sitting there for about 6 years. It's got some trees growing up in it. We had another pile, and what we did is we came through, we cut the trees out, pulled them out with the tractor, and then we moved the pigs down about a week ago and put their enclosure up around that pile so they could do the hard work. This is what is left of that first pile of wood chips, which was standing about 6 feet tall and probably about 10 feet long, 5-6 feet wide. They have completely gone through it. They've eaten any weeds, any root systems. They've spread it out for us. They've still got a little bit more spreading to do, but this has only been a week that they've been down here on this spot. So, hi Francois. You smile for the camera? Once they have this all spread out a little bit more, we'll probably leave them on here for another week or so. We'll go ahead and move them to the next spot, which will be that right there to clear out, and we'll get this spread out and squared up, and it'll be another market garden bed. Once they're done on that spot there, we're gonna pull these trees out right here and then move them around this pile and let them do the same thing. So a little bit of cuteness overload. Update on the baby rabbits. Everybody has got their eyes open and fully furred, and they're starting to nibble on rabbit food. So in a couple more days, probably about another week or so, they'll be able to come away from mom and be sorted out for bucks and does. Here's the other litter. Like I said, everybody's got their eyes open and happy wiggly bunnies. So I changed my mind a little bit with some of how I had the bed laid out. I know I had talked about putting corn in this U-shaped bed here. However, I had put the seeds in and I had a mole promptly come through and go up and down every little row and eat every kernel of corn. So I'm doing peppers here instead. I'm gonna put some corn in that back section. That's gonna be cut flowers on one side, corn on the other. I do have my summer flowers in front of the garden now, all potted up and ready to fill out. Lots of petunias and some colorful coleus and potato vines. It's just a nice splash of color that'll fill up this hill throughout the summer and attract people's attention. And then my tomato beds, I've got them in. Like I said, some of the tomato starts were not doing so hot, but they are all taking off and putting out new growth, so we're good. And we got some marigolds that need to be potted. I do put a decorative potato vine on the end of each of my tomato beds, and they'll spill out over the side and just look pretty from the road. So I've got my big red slicer tomatoes in there, and I've got a couple eggplants in the middle. And then I've got my colorful yellow and white tomatoes in this bed, and I'm growing beets down the middle. And then over here is some of my new tomatoes that I'm trying this year, and I've got carrots planted down the middle there. The lettuce in the green stalk tower is doing fabulous. I had started just picking a couple leaves off of each plant, but what I do now is I will take one whole plant like this one here and I'll just twist, and then it starts growing new leaves from the center. So once these start, I come back through and kind of clean the outsides up. I put together a little decorative planter to go inside my patio. It's all shade plants, some impatiens and some dianthus. We also got our fire pit area cleaned up. So we got our fire pit ring in and our little bench there, and we brought some wood up. So another thing that I did as I'm starting to clear up this back side of my seating area was I put in a little shade garden plot. I'll probably put another one in on the other side over there. It gets about an hour, maybe 2 hours of sun every day, but I've got some ostrich fern in there, some impatiens, some stalks, and of course my little hosta and hummingbird feeder. Last but not least, an update on our birds. We do have the 11 that hatched out of my incubator. I had 12 eggs in and 11 survived, so I'm not complaining. These guys are going to be more black copper morans, and then a mix of my copper moran rooster with my Americana hen. The ones that are mixed will be what we call olive eggers, and they lay an olive green egg. So you might be wondering why they're in a cage. So when I do chicks, I hatch them late enough in the year that they're not going to have to worry about cold. And then when they have their pin feathers, I put them outside in the chicken coop, like inside the actual coop area, in a cage so that they can be seen but not gotten to. It gives the other birds a chance to get used to them so that when I do move them out here, they're not going to be picked on and attacked for being new. When we brought the pigs in, we had to make sure that we had a plan for what they were going to do while they were living here on the farm. On top of them being living, breathing tillers, when they're doing this job, they're also feeding themselves, which cuts down on the cost of grain significantly. It might take a little extra time to do small sections as opposed to just turning over an entire field with a tractor. However, the environmental benefit and the personal benefit will just so much outweigh the little bit of time lost. It's a small way that we can work with Mother Nature instead of against her to help better our farm and our soil and make it easier to live off of this land. I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Enjoy this warm weather that's coming, and don't forget to get your hands dirty.